Proverbs 21 verse 1, it says, "The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. Like the rivers of water, he turns it everywhere he wishes." So the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. This means that God is sovereign even over a king, and not just Israel's kings. When you look at 1 Kings 11:23, you will see this. When you look at Ezra 6:22, there is also something there. Isaiah 44:28, Jeremiah 25:9, Acts 4 verse 27 to 28. All those verses show that the Lord is sovereign. He can even turn the heart's king like a river. Verse 2, "Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the hearts." What you're trying to do right now seems right in our eyes. It seems right in your eyes, but the Lord weighs the heart. What's the intent of your heart? Why are you doing what you're doing? Even if it's a good thing, why are you doing what you're doing? God weighs the heart. Verse 3, "To do righteousness and justice is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice." The word sacrifice stands for the outward actions of religious observance, equivalent to doing church. The proverb is saying that to do righteousness and justice is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. To do righteousness and justice is more acceptable to God than doing church. Are you doing righteousness and justice? Verse 4, "A haughty look, a proud heart, and a plowing of the wicked are sin." All those things are what? Are sin. When we look at the notes here in verse 4, this Hebrew word of plowing could also be translated fallow ground. It means that ground which is not taken care of. Okay? Just as an unplowed field produces weeds, a haughty look or a proud look and a proud heart, immodesty and lack of restraint produce sin. So when you're proud, having a haughty look is like a proud look also. It produces sin. Like weeds, it just eventually it produces sin. Verse 5, it says that the plans of the diligent lead surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is haughty surely to poverty. Plans of the what? Diligent lead surely to plenty. So the word diligent here, diligent means you're looking at the detail of how the plan goes, the detail, and you're not in a rush. However, but diligent also means speed. You do it quickly, but not unthinkingly. You're doing it fast. However, you've looked at all the detail. You know what it looks like, okay? I'll put some other verses in the description about this hasty person. And a hasty person lacks forethought and diligence. A hasty person, you're rushing. You get the idea, you want to move immediately. You've not done the due diligence to make sure that the idea will actually work. Verse 6, getting treasures by a lying tongue is the fleeting fantasy of those who seek death. Getting treasures by a lying tongue is the fleeting fantasy of those who seek death. I hope you're not getting your treasures by a lying tongue. On fleeting fantasy, we can see notes on dishonesty at verse 13 and in chapter 13, verse 11. It is literally blowing away like smoke. The treasures cannot save from eternal death. The treasures you get by lying cannot save from eternal death. Verse 7, it says that the violence of the wicked will destroy them because they refuse to do justice. Verse 8, the way of a guilty man is perverse, but as for the pure, his work is right. Better to dwell in a corner of a housetop than in a house shared with a contentious woman. A contentious woman. Who is a contentious woman? One who is quarrelsome, one who is looking for battles. You'd rather live in the corner of a housetop. Houses in the ancient Israel had flat roofs, and it was possible to build a shelter on them or to sleep there in the summer. Normally, however, the inside of the house was better. So by the time someone is saying it's better, instead of staying within a house which is comfortable, you'd rather stay on a roof than in a house which is comfortable with a contentious woman. The women hearing me, I hope you're not being contentious. verse 10, it says that the soul of the wicked desires evil. His neighbor finds no favor in his eyes. Verse 11, when the scoffer is punished, the simple is made wise. But when the wise is instructed, he receives knowledge. It says that a scoffer's only contribution is as a negative example. He, in the second part of this verse, could refer to the simple. You can see in chapter 1, verse 4, who first becomes wise, then receives knowledge. The scoffer is punished, the simple is made wise. When a scoffer is punished, the simple is made wise. Now that simple person now gets wisdom and says that, but when the wise is instructed, he receives knowledge. So a wise man, when a wise man is instructed, they say, a word to the wise is enough. When a wise man is instructed, they receive knowledge. Verse 12, the righteous God wisely considers the house of the wicked, overthrowing the wicked for their wickedness. Whoever shuts his ears to the cry of the poor will also cry himself and not be heard. That is verse 13. 21 verse 13. Proverbs 21 verse 14. A gift in secret pacifies anger, and a bribe behind the back strong wrath. While it cannot be denied that a gift or bribe is effective, God hates bribery. Yes, on behind the back, see notes. God hates bribery. So you see this verse, people usually use it and say, oh, we shall take a gift. But actually here that it means bribery. It means that bribery, that when you bribe, it pacifies anger, but it doesn't change the fact that God hates bribery. Okay? We can look at some other scriptures that actually support this. Let's look at Proverbs 15:27. He who is greedy for gain troubles his own house, but he who hates bribes will live. You see that? Yes. If you hate bribes, you will live. Then Proverbs 17 verse 8. 17 verse 8, it says that a present is a precious stone in the eyes of its possessor. Wherever he turns, he prospers. Yes, the precious stone is a charm that makes people treat others favorably. The present is a bribe. The briber only apparently prospers in this life. Ultimately, God, who abhors magic and hates bribes, will condemn him. So you might give a bribe and you prosper and you're doing well in this life, but ultimately, destruction. There's a way that seems right to a man, but only leads to destruction. Okay, verse 15, Proverbs 21:15. It is a joy for the just to do justice, but destruction will come to the workers of iniquity. A man who wanders from the way of understanding will rest in the assembly of the dead. Verse 17. He who loves pleasure will be a poor man. He who loves wine and oil will not be rich. Did you hear that? You want to be rich? Don't love wine and oil. Let's look at it here in the notes down here. It says that wine and oil were blessings from God. That is in Deuteronomy 7:13. As was pleasure. But when God's blessings are pursued without God, they become vices that sidetrack diligence. Did you see that? Wine and oil and pleasure, all those things come from God. But now when you just seek those things without seeking God, they become vices. They become vices. I guess that's why it says that seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. You could seek the things without seeking God. You will get the things, but you won't have God. But when you seek God, you will have both God and the things. Okay. Verse 18. The wicked shall be a ransom for the righteous, and the unrighteous for the upright. Proverbs 21:19. Better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman. This one has come up again. Verse 19. Better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman. Woman, why are you angry? Why are you angry? On contentious, okay, let's look at this. An angry person vexes others, causes grief and aggravation, and expresses displeasure. So there are people who say, me, I just say what is on my heart, expressing displeasure. My friend, if God was like that, we would all die. But the Bible says that God is slow to anger. And the last time I checked, we were created in God's image. So we can be slow to anger. You can be slow to anger, my dear. Okay, verse 20. Proverbs 21:20. There is desirable treasure and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man squanders it. To squander is literally to gulp down. The wise person accumulates valuable savings, but the foolish man consumes his income as fast as it is produced. Did you hear that? Yeah. A foolish man consumes his income as fast as it's produced. When the money comes, it's like before the money shows up, it already knows you're already taking it somewhere. Oh, why? Calm down. Eh? So, it says that a wise person accumulates valuable savings, but the foolish man consumes his income as fast as it is produced. As soon as it is produced, it moves, goes. Oh! Proverbs 21:21. He who follows righteousness and mercy finds life, righteousness, and honor. Okay? Proverbs 21:22. A wise man scales the city of the mighty and brings down the trusted stronghold. Let's look at the notes. The notes say that those who rely on a trusted stronghold, strong confidence, apart from God, have unfounded faith. A wise person can overcome the most formidable obstacles. 23. Whoever guards his mouth and tongue keeps his soul from trouble. A proud and haughty man, scoffer is his name. He acts with arrogant pride. Pride is the key to the character of the scoffer. The scoffer, pride is like the beginning. Verse 25, the desire of the lazy man kills him, for his hands refuse to labor. The desire of the lazy man. The lazy man has selfish desire that is unfulfilled because he is too lazy. He will experience physical and spiritual death. Righteous people are generous yet contented. When you're lazy, you die both physically and spiritually. And laziness is a choice, by the way. It is not something that is inherently there. You choose to be lazy. You choose to stay in bed while it rains, yet you're supposed to be going to work. You choose to turn in your bed like a hinge, like a door hinge. Verse 26, he covets greedily all day long, but the righteous gives and does not spare. So these two verses are connected, verse 25 and 26. It says that the desire of the lazy man kills him, for his hands refuse to labor. He covets greedily all day long, but the righteous gives and does not spare. Okay, verse 27. The sacrifice of the wicked is an abomination. How much more when he brings it with wicked intent? Proverbs 21:28. A false witness shall perish, but the man who hears him will speak endlessly. 29. A wicked man hardens his face, but as for the upright, he establishes his ways. To harden one's face is to act brazenly or arrogantly. No, I will not do it. No, we're not doing it. 30. There is no wisdom or understanding or counsel against the Lord. There is no wisdom or understanding or counsel against the Lord. Then 31 says that the horse is prepared for the day of battle, but deliverance is of the Lord. You see that? Let's look at the notes. The notes say that Yahweh is sovereign. Okay? A horse is an example of human understanding, military technology that cannot succeed apart from God's will. So God's will succeeds every single time. Every single time. So it doesn't matter how much technology we have. I can have a lot of technology and say, what? I'm going to put all these verses on YouTube so that people can see, and then they will like and subscribe and things like that, and then my channel will grow. At the end of the day, it is the will of God that prevails. So if it is God's will for me to do what I'm doing, it will prevail. It doesn't matter what happens. So all these things that we are doing, all the technology, all the wisdom that we have, it cannot succeed unless it is the will of God. Think about all the people in Silicon Valley. They've done very many inventions and things, but the ones that usually come through are the ones that are the will of God. Yeah. If you like these Proverbs, please subscribe, like, comment. You can also give your opinion about any of the ones that I've read. And then look in the descriptions. There are some other details, other verses and things like that that you can work with. All right, that's it for today. God bless you. If you like these Proverbs, please do tell me in the descriptions, and then I'll keep reading them to you. God bless you. Have a good day.